Welcome to the Carl Watts Golf Daily Lesson Live number 9. And remember, one of our key things that we're looking to do with the Daily Lesson Lives is to work around if you like, the phrase that you're only one tip away. Now, what do I mean by that? Is it's literally, if you keep looking for these little bits of information and tips that can help you build your game, especially ones that you can take straight onto the course, you'll be surprised how 2 or 3 or 4 of these can really help. Now, we've really seen when someone suddenly finds a little nugget that really helps them to piece their game together, what difference it can make. And it literally can make the difference of 3, 4, 5, 6 shots, which is very, very cool when you consider some of the tips are actually very easy to implement. Now, before we start today, we're going to do a bit of a tour stat of the day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question. I'd like, if it's okay, for you to comment on what you think the answer is. So, the question I have for you today is this. If, on the PGA Tour, what I'd like to know is, let's say a player is just off the green and the pin is here and they are within 20 to 30 yards of the pin. So they are chipping from off the green and they're 20 to 30 yards away from the pin. So they could be, say, 10 yards off the green and maybe 15 yards to the pin. So say, let's say 25-yard shot here. Now, what I'm interested in here is how close in feet do you think they will actually hit it? So from a tour stats perspective, how close in feet from 20 to 30 yards will they hit it on average? So if you just throw the answers or just comment on the answers for me, I'll just give you a couple of seconds just to come up with what you think that answer is. So let me just confirm it, or just clarify the question again. So we're just starting with the stat of the day. So on the PGA Tour, from 20 to 30 yards off the pin, so let's say this is a 10-yard chip onto the front of the green to a pin 15 on, how close on average on the PGA Tour do they hit it? Okay, so I've got some answers coming through here, which is cool. Now what I'm going to do is obviously give you the answer. So the answer, so one of the PGA Tour PGA players are 20 to 30 yards away from the hole, and the answer, how close they hit it, the answer on average is 9 feet and 6 inches. Now, what you're going to find is a lot of players will actually be obviously very, very surprised at that stat. And rightly so, because at 9 feet 6 inches, let's say there's a circle round like this around here, most people are guessing from there around 2 or 3 feet, and I use these stats all the time with players. Now, I think you can guess as well here what the implications are when people start to think the standard is a lot better than it actually is. They then don't actually, they then don't get the benefit of hitting shots. When, let's say, someone hits a shot to say 8 or 7 feet, they can assume that it's actually not good enough when in reality it's within tour average and tour standard. So it's very cool to understand some of these basic stats. Okay, so that was stat of the day for today, which we're going to just look into. We like to sort of dispel some of the myths of the game about what the standard is. Now, just so you know who this is, that average is Rory McIlroy, which is, again, really quite enlightening when you start to understand it. So, question of the day today is from Alison from London. She plays off 28 handicap. She recently joined on the YouTube channel. And her question is, she cannot keep head down, she keeps topping shots. So what can she do about it? Now, one of the things I always like to say is that knowledge is power, or basic knowledge is power. If you have an understanding of the core fundamentals of the game, it's amazing how it can help you when you are then competing, or when you're on the course and you're struggling with shots. So, to answer your question, Alison, about actually what the problem is here. Now, one of the biggest myths of the game and one of the biggest pieces of advice that are given within the game is to keep your head down. And it is probably the worst piece of advice that you can give. Now, what are people actually trying to say when they say keep your head down? Now, the main thing that they're actually saying is when you're actually hitting a golf shot, as opposed to keep your head down, what they're really saying is, can you keep your height when you're actually playing a shot? So can you stop moving up on the shot? So can you stop your spine angle moving up rather than actually the advice where they're saying is keep your head down. Now I could hit a shot, keep my head down, but move up, and I would still top it. So I'm still looking at the golf ball, but I will top the shot. So what they're really saying again is keep your height, keep your angles better when you're hitting the shot. And another key point to do with this myth is you are far better to follow the ball than you are to keep your head planted looking at the ground. The reason for this, it will allow you to transfer your weight and move effectively. So just remember, one of the golf myths of the game, yet it is the most common piece of advice you'll get, is keep your head down. So just remember, if you start explaining that to someone down the line, giving that advice, just remember it probably won't help. You can change it to try and keep the angles that you started with at address. Try and keep your height. Yeah, that would be a much better and more useful tip to give. So Alison, I hope that helps. It's something that comes up a lot when you're teaching the game, again in particular with people that are fresh to the game or just starting up again or beginners to the game. It's one of the key bits of advice that you can help them with just to get some consistency going in the first place. So I hope you have found that helpful, and if you've got any other questions, if you would like to send through any questions, I will answer them at the daily lesson live. And just by all means send them in. If you have any swings you would like me to analyse, just send in a video to info@carlwatts.co.uk, and I will then create a YouTube clip for you with the answers to actually how you can work on your swing, and direct you to my YouTube channel, which has all the different videos, and I'll explain to you which one I think would be a helpful video to you, depending on what we have seen with the video analysis that you've sent me. So I hope you have found that useful. Please again go onto the channel, like the channel, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. We're sending lots of videos on all the time, and please remember, you are only one tip away. And remember what we mean by being only one tip away, that effectively if you can find that little piece of a little tip that helps you to just bring your game together, which a lot of people do, you'll be surprised what impact it can have on the course. So as you get ready for your weekend of golf, which a lot of you will be, just try and take out one or two key tips that you can easily take on the course, like today's, which is try and keep your height rather than keep your head down. That is how you're going to actually get more consistency, rather than the golf myth, if you like, of keep your head down, which stops all that movement and stops you actually getting the freedom and the fluidity in your swing. So don't give that bit of advice to anyone, just checking that you don't. Okay, so great to see you. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and please just send in your comments and I will answer them on the future daily lives.